All right, Southwest Florida, you're looking live at a magnificent setting. We're here at the Naples Ritz-Carlton Hotel at the reception for the kickoff of the Florida Business Retreat and HBCU Golf Classic. People are starting to file into this reception area where you have a lot of businesses displaying their goods and services. And then we'll slowly move into the adjacent room here where the reception will take place and the formal, the comedian will perform the night, as well as some honorees in this area will be given awards. And of course, not of course, but yours truly is grateful to be one of the honorees out of the four who will be picking up an award this evening. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts, and you're watching the award-winning Lee Pitts Live. You may say, well, Lee, you have a lot of beautiful women on your show all the time. Who's the beauty sitting next to you? Well, we'll find out right now. Who is this beauty sitting next to me?
Well, hello. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you, Mr. Pitts. I am Jacqueline Jimenez. I'm with Newsworthy Stories, and I'm glad to be here today representing people who are Mr. William McCormick, who is the founder of the South Florida HBCU Golf Classic. And I'm also here representing Carter Bonus, who is an 11-year-old who created his own line of golf apparel.
Right, he's a very impressive young man, and people, y'all got to see me talk to him early on today, and that was because of her, who does a great job in helping people get exposure in various media outlets. Let's talk about your company and what do you actually do?
Well, what I do is I am a television and social media news coverage consultant, and I'm the author of How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think.
Is that a book?
It is a book. It's
All right,
actually a handbook.
How can people get the book?
Actually, you can go to Newsworthy Story, even though my company is Newsworthy Stories. My website is newsworthystory, STORY.com.
Okay, and get that book. Now tell us, well, you dropped a few things on me, so let's go with the part about getting yourself, that book tells people how to get their story covered by the news.
It does, and it really is insider knowledge. You know, actually, when I left the newsroom is when I realized just how, what kind of a niche it was to be a news producer. And helping during the pandemic is really what sparked everything, because I had just finished completing that book. And it's really a handbook. It's something that's designed to be read in 40 minutes, and you can reference it, like what elements do I need in a story, when to send a press release, when not to send one. You know, and also
stop blowing me up with all those press releases. I just delete them. But go ahead.
Well, it's true, and you know, I tell people because as a producer, I was the one receiving all those press releases myself. And they would be filled with so much information. And the newsroom, you know, we don't have time to go through all that. So what I do is I teach people how to identify the news story in their business or organization, even your faith-based organizations, churches. You know, because there's so many news stories that most people just don't see, they don't recognize. And so I help them identify those stories, then help them get local, national, even international news coverage. And if that doesn't work, then I help them produce a news story specifically for social media.
So essentially, people can get in touch with you. You will work with them from soup to nuts and get them ready to get that kind of exposure. And most of the time, that's free exposure that reaches a lot of people, correct?
It is. And, you know, what I'm finding, especially during the pandemic, so many businesses needed help. And I was trying to teach them, this sounds like a commercial, you can't, you know, this is to actually find the story in the story. And I was able to do that, and these businesses went from no business to nonstop. And I realized that people really weren't looking to see what network I was with. I started in radio, and so I kind of brought out the news voice, you know, from way back then when I started. And I took, you know, what I had, my iPad, I took a stand, and I just started shooting these stories so that people could hear what was needed.
When did you first get into the news business? About how many years ago?
About 30 years ago.
Okay, I wanted to say that to set up my next question is, you've seen a lot change over that period of time, certainly as it relates to the internet and social media, because you got started into television or radio right around the time that I got started about 30 years ago. So a lot has changed, and there are a lot of outlets out there, and I would think that people now have to find different outlets that are going to actually get noticed, because there's so much out there. with Netflix and everything else out there, apps and podcasts and YouTube and Facebook and Instagram.
Well, you know,
How do they get noticed?
You would be surprised, and I tell people this. I said the same way that newsrooms get a viewer. I said that's the same way you engage with your social media audience. Social media is their audience. And I said you need to treat it the same way. So I teach them the same techniques. What is the urgency in your business? Every night, just about, right? The news comes on, this is developing, this is happening, it's urgency. So I teach them what is urgent in your business? Why do people need to know about your business? And then the success stories. You know, we don't need the story to be about you in order to do a story about you. About your clients, you know? So that way you kind of come in at a different angle, but news won't recognize it. Let me tell you this. And the reason why these stories work, is because I've been a news producer, but I've always been a freelancer.
Okay.
Producing tons of corporate videos. So I tell it like a news story, but I highlight it like a corporate video.
Gotcha. Talk about where we are right now as we start to wrap this interview up. This whole setting behind us, people see all these people coming in. It's the Florida Business Retreat, the HBCU Golf Classic. To have something like this over here in Naples, Florida, to have all these people coming into this town for this weekend, just from your experience and all of this taking place, just how does this make you feel to be a part of all of this?
Well, it's great. And you know why? One of the things, you know, we talk about the press releases I sent out. My angle was about the economic boost for Naples. People in Naples need to know about it. So next year you'll be a part of it. And you'll know that it's in your backyard. You might not even know about it. And this is going to be something that is this is the second year the Golf Classic has been here. And it sold out last year and it sold out this year.
And I think you have some kind of relationship with William McCormick. Who is he and how does he's the guy with the business retreat?
He's actually the guy with the Golf Classic.
Okay, Golf Classic.
He's with the South Florida South Florida HBCU Golf Classic. A long word, right? Long sentence. But he is the board chairman of the trustees at the Florida Memorial University.
Okay.
And originally, that's where he was trying to help the students there. But then he opened it up to all the HBCUs to help them fill in the gap, as we call it.
Well, we got people filing in from all over the country to come here for an annual visit to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel to Southwest Florida, the west coast of the state of Florida, where the Gulf of Mexico runs through all from Naples to Fort Myers, Sarasota, Punta Gorda, Tampa, all up that side if you're not familiar with the state of Florida.
Best sunsets.
South Beach is on the other side of the state where you have the Atlantic Ocean. We have a beauty who has come here from Coral Springs area, the other coast, to bring in her experience and her expertise to this important retreat. So thrilled to have you here.
It is a pleasure. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
As the saying goes on this particular show, Miami has the oranges, but Southwest Florida
Got the juice.
HBCU Golf Classic, Florida Business Retreat has got the
Juice.
juice. We'll be right back.